One of the most recognizable automakers in the world is Jeep. You'll have a hard time finding someone who doesn't know what a Jeep is or can't recognize a Wrangler as one. Whether you're in America, England, rural Australia, or deep in Germany's Black Forest. Over 2,400 dealerships in the U.S. alone have the rights to sell vehicles bearing the Jeep brand. And if Jeep were split off into a new corporation, it would be valued at around $30 billion. Jeep is considerably more than just a brand name. It's now used to describe any off-road vehicle with a tough exterior. But it was easier said than done to get here. Jeep has moved from automaker to automaker like some sort of cursed idol, leaving a trail of defunct businesses in its wake. The evolution of Jeep was not easy at all, and we have brought you all the information you want to know about its insane story. The beginning of Jeep starts at the battlefield, and people don't talk much about that. I bet you never knew that the word Jeep has been slang for new recruits or vehicles in the U.S. Army before 1940. But the World War II Jeep that entered production in 1941 tied the name specifically to this light military 4x4, making them possibly the oldest four-wheel drive mass production vehicles now known as SUVs. Throughout World War II and the immediate aftermath, the Jeep was the main light four-wheel drive vehicle used by the U.S. military and the Allies. It all started when Jeep was created in response to the American Army's requirements for a general-purpose transportation vehicle that could take the place of both horses and motorcycles. In reality, one of the more well-liked hypotheses on the meaning of the word Jeep claims that it derives from the acronym GP, which stands for General Purpose. Others mention the Popeye comic strip character Eugene the Jeep. The name stuck no matter where it originated. At first, the Butler, Pennsylvania-based American Bantam Car Company created the off-road vehicle. It began by producing authorized replicas of Austin vehicles made in Britain. But the company was in bad shape by 1940 when the government started a bidding process for a tiny four-wheel drive military vehicle. After the war, the phrase spread around the world like a pandemic. It is the forerunner of later generations of military light utility vehicles like the Humvee and inspired the development of civilian analogs like the original Series 1 Land Rover. The Jeep, as stated by Doug Stewart, became the universal World War II four-wheeled symbol of Yankee invention and brash can-do determination. That was when government officials hired Willys Overland and later Ford to develop what would become the Jeep, because they were worried about the small automaker's capacity to produce the volume of vehicles it required. To distinguish the Jeeps it built from those made by Willys, Ford actually tried to put its own imprint on the Jeep design by branding as many elements as it could with the letter F. After the war, Willys kept the design rights and made an effort to give the Jeep a second chance in the civilian world. The headquarters of the Jeep brand has been in Toledo, Ohio, since Willys Overland started making the first CJ, or civilian Jeep, models there in 1945. The conceptually sound Jeep Wrangler series has been in production as its replacement since 1986. Because of its open top and solid axles, the Wrangler has been compared to the 911 in terms of Porsche brand recognition. Well, American automaker Jeep is now owned by the multinational company Stellantis, since Chrysler purchased the Jeep brand from its previous owner, American Motors Corporation, in 1987. Along with the remaining assets, Jeep has been a part of Chrysler. Another fun fact is that the word Jeep is nowadays commonly used in lowercase to refer to any off-road vehicle that was influenced by the Jeep. And did you know that since World War II, the term Jeppy, which is derived from the Jeep, has been used in Iceland to refer to any kind of SUV? The Jeep came out of the battlefield to civilian life, and we all know how it became such an icon. How did it happen? Let's have a deeper look. So Willys transformed its MB military Jeep into the CJ2A. The designation CJ stood for Civilian Jeep, and Willys would continue to produce these converted military vehicles over a period of about 4 decades. The Wrangler subsequently took the place of the CJ and still fulfills the same function today. And the CJ series, which denotes the first Jeep-branded automobiles to be offered for sale to the general public on a commercial basis, debuted in 1945 with the CJ2A and continued with the CJ3A in 1949 and the CJ3B in 1953. Because the front fenders of these early Jeeps were fully flat and straight, precisely like the original World War II model, they were popularly referred to as flat fenders. It's said that the CJ4 is that missing link between the later Jeeps with new bodies that have rounded fenders and hoods, starting with the 1955 CJ5, which was first introduced as the Military Willys MD. The CJ4 is only known to exist as a single 1951 prototype M38A1. The new overhead valve Hurricane engine's greater height was largely the driving force for the redesigned body. But Willys didn't stop there. It aimed to develop a full Jeep car lineup, starting the process through which Jeep became a standalone brand. It introduced numerous striking designs, such as the long-lasting station wagon in 1946, a pickup in 1947, and the Jeepster, a compact convertible with a conventional car-like appearance. The idea of Jeeps that were more like cars would be brought up once more decades later in the form of Jeep's first crossovers. Amazingly, the Jeep has shown to be more resilient than its parent, just as the original Jeep left American Bantam behind. Chrysler, the company that created the Liberty ship, another significant World War II vehicle, acquired Willys in 1953. After the war, Chrysler got into the auto industry. In 1963, it completely lost the Willys moniker and changed to Chrysler Jeep. In the same year, Jeep unveiled the Wagoneer, a more refined replacement for the CJ. One of the first precursors of the contemporary family SUV was the Wagoneer, which has a body that was essentially an enclosed station wagon. To speed up its retirement from the automotive sector, the American Motors Corporation, also known as AMC, bought Chrysler in 1969. The rest of the Wisconsin-based automakers lineup slowly withered away while the Jeep brand experienced significant growth during AMC's ownership. This was probably because of a lack of foresight, persistent financial problems, and quality problems. In the end, not even a cooperation with Paris-based Renault could save AMC, so Chrysler bought it in 1987 and shut it down soon after. In retrospect, all Chrysler sought was the name, reputation, vehicles, and intellectual property of Jeep. In the 1980s, two important Jeep models were unveiled. The first was the 1984 release of the Cherokee from the XJ generation. The XJ, which helped propel the company even farther into the mainstream, was Jeep's first genuinely contemporary SUV. Up until 2001, the XJ was produced with several modifications before being superseded by the Liberty. Jeep was quietly finalizing a replacement for its long-serving CJ, which had produced countless variations since its inception, while Chrysler was quietly prepared to take over. Because the off-roader, which had its roots in the World War II era, was so outdated, Jeep began from scratch when creating the original Wrangler as its replacement, also known as the YJ. Though more polished than its predecessor, it maintained a high level of off-road prowess. The top, doors, and windshield could all be removed by the user. The YJ appeared to be a decent combination because it combined the CJ's appearance and off-road capabilities with some contemporary conveniences, but Jeep purists originally disregarded it. They particularly despised the YJ square headlights, which were later changed to more conventional round ones. As of July 2020, it is in its fourth generation. Chrysler purchased Jeep, and that was a wise choice as SUV popularity skyrocketed in the 1990s. And Jeep was prepared to capitalize on this passion by utilizing its experience. In 1992, it debuted the first Grand Cherokee to replace the Grand Wagoneer, which had been around for a while. But things started to fall apart as the 1990s came to an end. After Chrysler and Daimler AG combined in 1998, the company started to place a greater emphasis on trucks and SUVs at the price of quality and fuel efficiency. The Compass and Patriot, Jeep's first car-based crossovers, received widespread disapproval, while the enormous Commander turned into a white elephant. after the 2008 crisis began and petrol costs began to rise. The first-generation Grand Cherokee SRT, a really fast hot rod that completely neglected off-road capability in favor of on-road performance, was released by Jeep in the midst of all of this. One of the businesses most impacted by the economic downturn in the U.S. was the manufacturing of vehicles. Chrysler then severed relations with Daimler and formally filed for bankruptcy. Chrysler then moved on to work with Fiat, a unique company, but the two businesses' merger brought about significant gains for both. The name of this new team is now Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, also known as FCA. The business decided that now would be the ideal time to revive the Cherokee as a crossover. Additionally, they collaborated to create the Renegade, a brand new little car. At the 2017 New York Auto Show, FCA unveiled the 707 horsepower Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, surprising the globe with its avant-garde design and concurrently displaying their alliance. This clever raised Jeep captured the attention of auto enthusiasts around the world. Jeep discontinued its pickup truck lineup in 1992 after the XJ-based Comanche's manufacture came to an end. So when the original Jeep truck, also known as the Gladiator, returned in 2018, Jeep enthusiasts were ecstatic. The Gladiator, based on the fourth-generation Wrangler, debuted at the 2018 Los Angeles Car Show. This vehicle has 4 doors and a variety of engines available, including a turbo diesel V6. Currently, Jeep sells roughly 1 million automobiles annually, but analysts predict this figure will climb. The Jeep Grand Cherokee of the next generation was unveiled last year. Many fans, maybe you as well, kept a lookout for this announcement in the first few months of 2021. For two SUVs constructed on the same fundamental architecture as the Ram 1500, Jeep also intended to revive the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer nameplates. The fact that the model would include a huge list of improvements obviously excited Wrangler lovers. One improvement was a plug-in hybrid powertrain, which would allow the car to travel short distances only on battery power. A 6.4-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine with 450 horsepower for the 4 axles was another improvement. Now, isn't it amazing how much there is to know about the story and history of Jeep? For now, Jeep continues to keep its followers guessing. Who can predict what they'll think of next? Thank you for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more intriguing business stories. See you next time.